Okay, now I want to talk about Albuquerque. Have you ever done the hot air balloon festival down there?
Yes, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah.
So
No, Terry and I did the Albuquerque hot air balloon festival several years ago, like
been a few years back.
2014.
it's fun.
Oh my gosh, did you go up in the mass ascension?
We did not.
We did.
You did? Was that worth it?
It was worth it. 500
100%.
balloons going up all at the same
That's
time.
so cool. See,
It
I'm
was
kind of an
magical.
adrenaline junkie.
Is that right?
So
kind of like
I've been on a hot air balloon, and I'm like,
Yeah.
can this speed up a little?
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
a
you're-
downhill skier, right?
It's like slow motion.
Like, this is
Not only can we not
mine.
speed it up, we don't know when it's going to land.
Past the fire, past the sounds. Moonshine through the clouds, saddle up, 'cause there's no stopping me now.
There
Oh
we
my
go.
goodness.
Welcome.
No, you're welcome.
Welcome. Welcome
Yeah.
to another episode of Living Well Together.
Big life in a tiny little town.
Yep.
It's a small town living we have, isn't it?
We have somebody really
love
special
it.
with us today. You want to introduce this woman?
Jane Doorley, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest.
Hello.
on Living Well Together. We're going to get her story. And here's the thing, and we've done this a couple of times. We've had Brenda, we've had Dottie,
Yep.
we've had Christy,
Yeah.
Tom, and
Yeah.
like all these powerhouse people in our town. So what we have kind of focused on, at least in the early phases, when we run out of powerhouse people, I don't know what we're going to do.
We have a whole community.
There's an
full of them. It's
unlimited
been- I was gonna say
supply
it'll
in
be years.
Fairborn.
Yeah.
Unlimited
We got
supply.
bucks. But Jane's going to tell us her story
Yeah.
as a community leader, as a community advocate, and as a Rotarian, as a
Yep.
person from healthcare.
Yeah.
So how'd you get here? You're not a born and raised Fairborn girl.
No, I'm not. I grew up in Colorado,
Okay.
which I loved. I grew up skiing and hiking and swimming. And so the mountains are kind of my zen. But I met my husband. He came out to Colorado to go to grad school. And I met him, and we pretty much fell instantly in love. I mean, he's such an amazing guy.
And he's your first husband.
He's my first and only.
Yeah, yeah. Had to throw
Yeah.
that in there, Bill.
Yeah. So, gosh, what was I going to say? So, we dated for 3 months, then we got engaged, and we got married 3 months later.
Holy
You were
mackerel.
married in 6 months after you met him.
Yes. And so my daughters
is so
always go,
special.
ooh,
Yeah.
because I was a freshman. He had taught a couple of years, came back, he was in grad school. They're like, ooh, Mom, you're a freshman. You dated a grad student.
And then married
But I
him.
did, and married him. And decades later,
all
we're
the
still
All
married.
of Bill's buddies were like, nice job.
Exactly.
Congratulations, Professor.
So, yeah, so
That is such a special story. How long have you guys been married?
we've been married 51 years.
Oh my goch, that is such a celebration.
I
Jane.
know.
Oh,
It is
congratulations.
amazing. And we're just like, he has an amazing heart. He's patient. He's calm.
He is so calm.
He's so calm. I mean, for years, he taught emotionally disturbed special education children. You can see that he's such a good fit for that. So, but he's a guy with a big heart. When he was a little boy, his dad was an executive at Winners Bank.
Okay.
When he was a little boy, there was a homeless man on the streets downtown Dayton. And he went up to him and he said, my dad can get you a job. He can help you, help you out. So, the executive tower, the Winners Tower, he brings this man up, takes him up to the top floor. Bill's dad's like, what are you doing?
Bill brought the man to the office to his dad.
So, I mean, that in a nutshell, that tells you what Bill's all about and
Like,
why
did you
I
just
fell
work
in
ever-
love with him. Yeah.
Did
So,
he get the job?
I don't know. It was a challenge.
I want to ask you real fast about skiing too. Do you still ski?
No, I do not. So I started skiing when I was a very, very, very young girl, and we went a lot. We're 5 in our family. We always went skiing.
Yeah.
And so when I met Bill, I had never skied with anybody who didn't grow up skiing.
Okay.
I thought it was just like walking, right? So Bill's like, is it okay if I wear jeans? I go, yeah, you can wear your jeans. I mean, I wore cutoffs sometimes when I skied, right? To get a tan.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, reflecting off the snow.
That's right.
Smart idea.
Absolutely. So we went skiing and he kept falling and he kept falling. I'm like, oh,
I can't marry you.
I know. He's like, I'm going to go in the lodge. You can ski. So I felt bad because I handled that really poorly. And then he never wanted to ski again. So there you go.
Did he take a lesson?
I mean, I didn't think you needed a lesson to ski.
It was so natural to you.
Yeah. So it was my bad.
So that's just one flaw.
One flaw.
Well, just one.
Right.
The rest has been
And
beautiful.
you've been okay ever since.
Yes. Yeah. We got through that.
How did he talk you into moving to Ohio?
Yeah.
Well, he's an Ohio boy. He grew up in Kettering, and his parents were both here. And we wanted, once we had our oldest daughter, we wanted to be around grandparents. So we moved to Ohio so that our children could grow up with his mom and dad being grandparents. And they were beautiful grandparents.
Nice.
So it was good.
So it was a good choice that you made.
It was a good choice. And I love Ohio. Yeah. I love Fairborn. Yeah. It's the most amazing town with the biggest heart and the strongest leaders. And I mean, it's just a beautiful town. So I love Fairborn.
I love that too.
I know. Doesn't it make you emotional?
No.
Oh, it does me.
I'm with Lisa.
Like, it really does. It's like, that's why we're here and we do the things we do, right?
Exactly. That's why we're here.
We love it.
Yeah.
And so you have 2 daughters?
We have 2 daughters, Pam and Sarah. Pam is a licensed therapist. She lives in Baltimore, and she has a big heart. So she's very creative and thoughtful and insightful. She does things like she created special yoga for women who are victims of domestic violence. So she kind of thinks outside the box. For Johns Hopkins, she developed a trauma-informed care approach for them to use with certain, of their population. So I'm very proud of her, what she does. So beautiful.
Is that sort of following in your footsteps in a way? I know you were
A little
critical
bit.
care nurse,
Yeah,
right?
a little bit. Yeah.
And so
Taking care of people who need help. Yeah. And then our youngest daughter lives in Albuquerque, and she's a physician. And she's also a faculty at UNM, but she works with the homeless. She works with the immigrants. She works with the Navajo Nation. She works with individuals who have substance abuse. So I'm proud of our daughters. They inspire me.
Yes,
They do good stuff.
And vice versa, because they learned this somewhere.
I was going to say they reflect
Probably
you.
part of it is genetic in a way, but watching
It is
you
who
and
they are.
the example that you've set.
Yeah. And that's been a part of their life. Growing up when they were little, they get home from school, we get home from work, we grab groceries and go bring them to families. We did that a couple nights a week from when they were like in kindergarten. So they've grown
And
up.
was that just on your own?
That was as a member of St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay, yeah.
So
And so you would go down there and grab the groceries and
Yeah,
things,
and then
you had
deliver
a
'em to
list
people.
of people
Yeah.
that needed the deliveries.
So
Wow, that's incredible.
it was fun.
And so
Family thing to do.
it really is like
Yeah.
instilling those values
Yeah.
that you have to do to learn,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Community
that's not, you can read
service.
about that all day long.
right?
But until you're doing
But you live
it's-
it.
Right.
Yeah. Grow up with it.
And you
Yeah.
experience that.
So did you start into nursing when you got back to Ohio? Were you a nurse
I was a nurse in Colorado.
in Colorado?
So,
But
yeah,
did you do that here as well?
I did. Yeah. So I was critical care nurse, and then at some point at Miami Valley Hospital, I was on their palliative care team. So end of the life care, symptom management, individuals in ICU coronary care that we needed to figure out how to take them off life support, orchestrate life support for them. What was the most gentle, best way to do that?
Yep.
So that was
Smooth
what I did.
transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then working with those families.
That was the most important part.
Yeah.
And that was interesting.
Yeah.
I bet.
Want to share any stories?
I mean, sometimes the children would be in the state penitentiary and I try to get a hold of them and try to figure out a way so they could come visit their dad before we took him off of life support.
Yes.
And sometimes they say, Jane, you really don't want this person at Miami Valley Hospital, but sometimes we could make it happen. So
And you did
it was
the best
just
you could.
different. Did the best we could. Yeah.
Probably tried to put yourself in everybody's shoes and see what that would feel like for them.
Always. Yeah. So.
Wow. Yeah.
But I love teaching. I
I was going to say,
teaching.
were you teaching and nursing, or did you stop the nursing game before you started the
I
teaching?
taught and did nursing. So for 24 hours, Miami Valley Hospital negotiated with Wright State to buy me for 1 day a week. So
you
for
kicked
24
the boss.
hours, I was.
I like this.
I know. It
think we
worked
all
out.
could. Yeah.
Yeah, it worked out. And I loved it. I love students. So.
Yeah. That is so wonderful. How many students do you think you worked with over the years?
Oh my gosh. I taught 3 classes a quarter, 4 quarters a year, average of 100 students in each class for 25 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So you're still kind of new at it.
Yeah.
So
Figuring it out.
I'm gonna just.
You can do
I
the
did
math,
girl math.
Lisa.
I think
How
it was
about
like-
that? You
this
can
is
do
like
the
Actually, we'll
math.
put that on the screen,
20.
Graham. We'll have like a little calculator showing that particular batch of math.
I'm thinking, is that about 25,000?
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe.
that's a
I mean,
low
it's
average.
a lot.
That's a low estimate.
And several of my previous nursing students volunteer at Fish today, and so they're still in my life, which is good.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness. So how did the transition from doing the nursing, doing the teaching, work into your executive director position at Fish?
I wasn't sure I wanted to retire, but Bill was ready to retire.
Okay.
And he said, we always do things together. Said, well, okay, so I thought, what is this going to be? Terry knows I'm very type A. So I had a list.
Not a sit still
Number
kind of
one,
girl.
number two. Now I had this detailed list of the goals I was going to accomplish in the first year.
Of being retired?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
When you're supposed to, like,
something's
just not
wrong
do
with that,
anything, yeah.
right? So, but then it was really serendipitous that we had always brought produce to Fairborn Fish in the summers. We harvested at 2 different master gardeners gardens. So, but then so we were there one day and the food bank was mandating that they use computers.
Okay.
And at that point, the women who were elderly did not use computers, were not comfortable with computers. And I love to play around with databases. So I hear what's going on. I said, well, can I just see the database you're using? So I sat, and the person from the food bank was there that was training. So I sat down and was playing with it. And they looked at the people from Fish and said, you're starting using computers today. You've got her.
Okay.
I've learned from her.
So I want to back up just a little bit, because when we say Fish, we know what we mean.
Oh, yeah, I'm
But
sorry.
you know what? They might not.
Okay.
And so let's back up on what is Fish.
That's good.
I like that. Yep.
Okay, so 51 years ago, some members of our community decided they wanted to feed the hungry. And so they were getting food and keeping it in their garages, delivering food to people in the evenings. And then at some point, the food pantry was actually located in Fairborn City Schools' old bus depot. So it was in the Methodist Church for a while. It was a Mary Help Catholic Church for a while. So it rotated around until about maybe 20 some years ago, the Baptist Church said you can put Fish in our annex that we have there. So for
broad.
25 years, it was there.
So is Fish an acronym for something? Why is it called Fish?
It is. So this is a beautiful part of Fish. In the 1800s in Europe, they closed a lot of the orphanages, they closed the hospitals. The person who was the ruler at that time was a tyrant. So there were a lot of people starving. So they took the symbol of Christ, the fish, and put it in their windows. And that was a way to tell neighbors that that family needed food. So from that point, Fish food pantries popped up all over Europe.
Okay.
And then they came over to the United States. So there are Fish food pantries all over our country. And it stands for Friends in Service to Humanity. So it is an
I
acronym.
had no
Yes.
idea about that.
Yeah. So
Friends
beautiful beginnings
Yeah.
in service to humanity.
in service to humanity.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's, yeah.
that's amazing. We'll put that in the notes too, for the description, so everybody knows that forever and ever. Oh my,
Yes.
that's
So
amazing.
beautiful beginnings, right? If you think about it.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Strong history. Yeah.
And so they had been over in the annex on Broad. And I don't remember when we connected with them.
We were
to
over
start-
there then.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. We were
Well,
over there.
Patty, I want to say Patty Davis was was she running it when you guys came into the picture?
She was running it with Bob Andes at the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, that we came into the picture. So,
Awesome. And
and she was amazing, and so was he.
You know, it's so funny. The first time we ever did Through the Office food drive in November, Patty was running it then.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that FISH was an acronym. She didn't explain it to me. I didn't ask, so that's not her fault.
Yeah.
But she said, that the holiday was coming and they were way low on
Yeah.
anything to be able to distribute. And that was the first year that we had done anything with it here in the
Yeah.
office. And that was probably
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Yeah. Was she a
Years
patient,
ago.
or did
Yeah.
you know her through Rotary? Okay.
Yeah, I took care of her in the office. So I said, would it be helpful if we did a food drive? And she was like, oh, that'd be really sweet.
Yeah.
And it was. And then the following week, I called her and said, hey, do you want me to bring this or do you want to come and get it? She said, oh, I'll just come get it. And she shows up in her little Toyota or something like that.
She was
little
with a
Corolla.
Honda.
A
Yeah.
little Honda. And she needed 2 vans.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
it's
is
not gonna
amazing
fit.
and beautiful.
It's not
Yes.
going to fit in your little
Yes.
car. And so but yeah, she was running it back then. And so at what stage did you guys what year was it when you and Bill kind of started doing the computers and moving
That
into
was 13 years ago.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So you've been doing it for a while.
13 years. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then when we started, it was very different. People have a different vision
Right.
for an organization. And so it was smaller. They were serving like maybe 35 families, 35 to 50 families a week.
Okay.
And people would come and they would put groceries in a bag and then hand them a bag and they would leave.
Okay.
So,
Just
So-
kind of like get what.
yeah, this
Here's
is
what we
what
have.
you're
Available.
get. Here's what we have, and this is what you're going to get.
Right.
So, and I guess it can be so painful for people to have to come and ask for food.
I can't
So
even
that
imagine.
so that always kind of broke my heart. I think when you think of people living under such stress, they're like trauma victims. So you want to do what you can to maximize their choice, empower them, love them, make them feel like someone cares for them, and give them as many choices. So we still slowly started changing it over so that there is like a grocery list, and they select what they would like and what hygiene do they need and what other needs do they have and everything. And then we fill their grocery order and give it to them. So they're telling us what food they need and what groceries they need.
Got it.
Which feels better to me. It feels like
Okay.
a better way. So, but it's just different perspectives and different ways of running things. So,
Right.
you
And I'm sure that was quite a transition too, to go from
was.
one way to another way.
yeah. Change is
But
not
this is
always
the way we've always
easy.
done it. This is always the way we've
I
done
know.
it. Who do you
Change
think
is
you are?
hard. Change is hard.
Yeah.
I understand that.
But have you found that the people that come in appreciate it so much more this way?
Huge difference. Huge difference. And then I guess for Bill and I, our vision for FISH is we're going to feed the hungry. That's number one, right? But then we're going to help people find a path out of poverty. So we try to look beyond that. So, when people are hungry and they don't have food to eat, that's all they can think about. They
Top of their
can't
mind.
think about how can I get out of this situation. So do that first. And then the health poverty cycle is the second part of that. We know that like half of all the people who come to FISH have hypertension and at least a third have high blood sugar.
Okay.
So we've incorporated the health aspect into it. And then the third step is jobs. So we have like this Tuesday, we have a child safety event where we're gonna teach safe sleeping. 25 babies in Greene County died last year because of what they perceive as unsafe sleeping. So, and it's not parent neglect. It's like when a baby is born, their breathing tube or their trachea is really soft. And if they turn a certain way or kind of roll into a bed pad, the pads they put around cribs, they can't push away from it and their tracheas collapse. Or they roll into a blanket and they can't push away. They're too, they don't have the development. So it was more things like that. So I have some of my volunteers who went through the certification at Children's Medical Center to teach safe sleeping. So we're going to do the cribs, the safe sleeping. Bill and I are busy buying car seats. Because, you think all the friends we know have car seats for their children, right?
Yeah.
But there's a disproportionate number of families in poverty that do not have car seats. So, and we see like grandparents taking care of the grandchildren, and the parents have the car seats, but the grandchildren don't have the car seats. And people are like, well, why don't they just switch them, right? I'm thinking, okay, when is the last time you installed a car seat into a car? Are you going to do that twice a day, right? So
it is really something else,
And
right,
not
Grandma?
it's
Not to state the obvious, but when you were an infant/toddler, did you ride around in a car seat? Did your
no,
parents have a car seat?
no.
My
in a car
parents didn't
bed.
have a car seat.
But the children that died because they weren't in a car seat,
Yeah.
we only want to eliminate those deaths, right?
Oh, no, I totally
so it's a
understand.
good thing.
The concept is very, very
know.
valid. I totally get
Maybe
it.
that's why our generation is so strong and so
Yes.
resilient.
We are robust.
That's right.
We survived without a car
We
seat.
We have
survived.
bicycle helmets.
Yeah, exactly. We
But we totally
survived.
understand. How are you going about getting the car seats for these families?
Bill and I are buying them. So we will take any donations.
Okay. Well, we can get to how,
Yeah, we can talk
how
about
we
that.
can help
Yeah, we
the
can actually
most.
talk about that.
Yeah. So
Wow. Are you getting new ones?
we are getting new ones. So, and then we have the firemen are going to be there and they're going to install them into the cars. So, and then the fire department's also bringing smoke alarms and carbon monoxide monitors. So we're going to try, and then I'll have Greene County Health Department there doing things. I have the nurse partnership program there. It's making sure all the moms that are pregnant that are there going to prenatal care. So I have a bunch of organizations. Whenever we have an event, it's a whole lot of organizations
Yeah.
there. So
You
skills
went
at
from
work.
feeding the hungry to like pretty much fully equipping people to get back into their life on
that's what we're trying to do.
levels.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. And then in July 9th, we're having a job fair. So, and we'll have Ohio Means Jobs, Clark State, the PRC out of Job and Family Services. We're going to have some of the businesses. So
What date is that again?
July 9th.
July 9th.
From 1 to 4. So, yeah.
And how do people find that? How do people know that?
Yeah, where do you guys
I mean,
advertise
we'll
that?
broadcast it.
Yeah, we
obviously.
give everybody flyers. I think I'll send a flyer to the Chamber of Commerce and have them do an email blast out about it. I'm part of a group called the Linkages Program. All the social service agencies in Greene County, we get together and meet and share what's going on. So they all have that information. So there's different kind of paths to get the message out. So
That's
then
good.
we'll
You probably
see.
need multiple paths to get
Yeah.
the message out.
Well, and I'm going to rewind the tape just a little bit.
Okay.
Because when you guys moved into town, 35 to 50 families a week. And now
Oh,
number
that's
is
a
what?
good question.
I've seen more than 35 cars lined up on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
We fluctuate between 150 and 200 each day.
Yeah.
So
a
it's up
day.
to 400 families a week.
Right.
Yes. So
So more than tenfold in the last 13 years.
more than tenfold. Yeah. And some of it is choice. Some of
Okay.
it is location. We have a lot of people that walk, and we've really worked with Green Cat. So they are now have a route and they're picking up people and stuff. So, and then offering more services. But I think showing them love and giving them choice, making them feel worthy.
And you're in a
helps
completely
people.
different location now.
Yeah,
what
where
used
are
to
you
be
located now?
We used to be Wright Elementary
what I thought.
School. Yeah, it's
okay.
480 West Funderburg.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's
so
not
Jean,
a short driveway. And like I said,
It's
there's
not.
75 cars in that driveway on a
Oh,
Tuesday.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll end up being up to 200 by the time the day's over. And it usually wraps up on Thunderbird.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so they drive up, and then you bring them out. You bring the food out to their cars.
No, so I have a volunteer that comes out, gives them a cold lunch with a cold bottle of water. So they have something to eat while they're waiting. And their chef prepared lunches, they're really good. So, but again, that's making them feel worthy. We love you. We think about you. We care about you. Here's a nice, really good cold lunch while you're waiting. And then I have volunteers, and I've created a fillable PDF form that's like a Kroger click list. So it's a grocery list. So then volunteers go out and what would you like? And they get their grocery order, and then they touch print, and it prints up into our data center where it goes into our database.
Okay.
And then their grocery list goes to our grocery area, and they fill their order, and then the golf carts bring their food down to them in the car. So at the old location, they came inside, and so so you'd have families sitting there, and then COVID hit, and Bill and I are in charge of it then, and we had to shift everything outside. And then when it kind of eased up, we were going to move it back inside. And they said, Jane, please don't change it.
Oh.
It's uncomfortable sitting with other people, seeing us wait to get food.
They would rather. wait in
Yeah.
the car.
So we had
Gives
to
you a little more anonymity.
Yeah. So we had to figure out how to maintain choice, but not have to have them come in and other people see that they're there getting food. So the fillable PDF form, go tech.
I know, right? And you love that. So, okay, so in
fabulous.
my mind, I'm thinking, okay, how long does that whole process take? You are delivering them a lunch to their car. They're filling
Yes.
out the PDF, goes to the data center, goes to the grocer, then the golf cart brings it. How long does that take?
Ideally, a half hour,
Okay.
sometimes longer.
Okay.
It depends,
And everybody
so
they're waiting, they're eating.
they're
having
eating a
nice
lunch,
little
they're
water.
waiting, and then we have things that we bring down. We get interesting donations sometimes. That
What do you mean? Please give us an example.
I don't know.
Like what?
Okay, so let's see.
Do you mean
Capers.
donation of food?
Yeah,
Donations of
food, and so that we wouldn't
Did
know
you say
that
capers?
capers, which is not bad, right? I mean,
me,
they're
do you have
great
any
in
Grey
spaghetti
Poupon?
sauce and stuff.
you know what to do
but
with them,
if
they're
you know
great.
what to do
Yeah.
with them,
Right.
so
You definitely don't want a whole bottle in anything, right?
no, yeah, but so
Got a
things.
jar of rabbit pellets.
No. So things we don't think that everybody would want. We have this huge rack that we put on this rack,
Okay.
and then we push it down below.
Oh, you do.
So, and
they
then
can
people
come out.
are like, it's like Christmas thing where you get a grab bag and you don't know what's going to be inside, and they love it.
Yeah.
And then from all the schools, we pick up at all the schools the morning of every day we're open. So we have these big coolers, Cambros, that have milk and, desserts and carrots and apples and all this stuff. So then they go over there and get a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So, and then Coca-Cola brings periodically 18 skids of Coke product.
Wow.
And we put that down in the corner and
Oh my
blink and
gosh.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, and we would never buy unhealthy
I am just
things.
going to hold my tongue.
But I know. And you're always like, and they call us, and I love Coca-Cola. They do
Right.
food drives for
Right.
us.
Sure.
And so they're like, Jane, can we bring skids of Coca-Cola? I'm like, okay, And so, but it makes
Like
people
moths
happy.
to a flame.
Yes. But if it makes people happy, if it brings joy to them, it's okay.
And you're working on the health part because you already said about the blood
Absolutely.
sugar and
Yeah,
some of those
so-
types
Yeah.
of things.
So
We're not causing diabetes. We're helping
I
people.
know. See, it's like, but so a couple.
But you have to balance it.
You have to balance it
Definitely.
out. Yeah.
You know,
So it's
give
not
them
what
some
we give
solutions.
people,
Yeah.
but if someone's going to donate it,
Yes.
then they can take it if
Understood.
they want. So,
sure.
but a couple weeks ago, we had a health fair, which I love. I mean, the nurse in me, I love our
yeah.
health fairs. So Premier Health comes out with a huge mobile unit, and it has 2 complete exam rooms. They do rapid testing for syphilis, HIV, Hep C. They have the Hep C squad there. They do all the biometrics. So do you want to know what your blood sugar, your cholesterol level, just a complete health kind of offering all of these health services. And And they're always amazed at the response they get.
Mm-hmm.
They go, all the sites they go, they get the best response at Fairborn Fish. And I think they're there.
Yeah.
It's a friendly place. They're comfortable there. And so it never fails. There's always people that are diagnosed with Hep C that didn't know they had hepatitis. Last time when they were here a couple of weeks ago, they sent 2 people directly to the emergency room.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's, makes me so happy when we have things like that.
Absolutely, but these people trust you. They see you almost every week.
I hope
right?
so.
And
They've
so
seen this for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they know that if you said that these people should come, that they know that they could trust.
That was going to be my
take
next
care of
question:
them.
is how do people? What's the parameters? Who qualifies to participate with fish?
Okay, that's a good question. So we actually collect about 24 pieces of demographic on all of our clients. I know if they get child support, if they get disability, if they get food stamps and how much, everything. If they're veterans, the reason they're at fish.
Yeah.
So
They provide that information for
they
you?
provide
Okay.
they provide the paperwork and the information when they're new clients. So they have to qualify by being 200% below the federal poverty guidelines. So these are truly people that cannot afford to buy a loaf of bread. So
200% below.
200%. So if you're a family of 4, that means that you're living on $30,000 a year or less. Think about it. I mean, and then the average food stamps for a family of 4 in Ohio is now $249. Feeding
Wait a minute,
4 people
$249
$49 for a month. That's the average for a family of 4 currently. Yeah.
Huh.
I can't even.
I'd have never guessed that.
Do you think it's high or low?
It's wicked low.
Wicked low.
It's wicked low. Yeah, it's so low.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
So you fill in the gaps.
we fill in the gaps. Yeah. So, but I hope people are comfortable coming to fish, like the fire department,
The evidence would suggest that they are. Everything that you're rolling out.
I hope. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many volunteers do you have there?
Oh, that's such a good question. So we currently have 80 volunteers.
Whoa!
People from all walks of life. We have pastors, we have physicians, we have nurses, we have teachers, we have homemakers, we have military people, we have a lot of Wright State students. So just come from all walks of life, which is fabulous. Last year they donated 107,000 volunteer hours.
Oh my heck. Okay.
Wait a minute.
Beautiful.
I'm going to write this down.
107,000
Divided by 80.
volunteer hours.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's
Do you have how many employees? Do you have
we
employees?
have no employees. It just goes, and we're rare in that sense.
Okay.
Most 501c3s, most food pantries in this area have paid employees. So,
I assumed that
but
would
it
be
just,
the case.
it just goes against what I think is the right thing to do. So if you want to volunteer at Fish, we'll pay you a lot in blessings.
Yeah. Love and affection.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to ask. So
Your cup will runneth over.
Individuals in the community get involved?
Oh, just stop by Fairborn Fish Tuesday or Friday afternoon. You can
They'll
see
put you to work.
you can see the magic of fish.
Yeah.
You can see us in action. So yeah.
And it is magic. They're like ants. I mean, you guys run that place like an ant colony. It's very organized.
It's so much
cute
fun though. Yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
much fun. We're busy. On
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Fridays, we're busy.
Yep.
So, and then I've contacted all of the case managers in our area. We have transition housing for individuals going through drug recovery. So, and then they come and get food for their clients and stuff too. So,
So what
Multiple
percentage of the
layers.
people that you're serving would you guess have some kind of issue connected to drug use?
oh, that's a really good question. I would say between 25 and 30% are
Because
struggling
that's-
with addiction,
Right.
which is why at least once a month, drug counselors come out with Narcan and the fentanyl strips, and these are your resources. And, so you can, it's a process.
Yep.
And it's so hard to get off of when you're addicted to drugs. It's so hard.
Well, and you might be packing 3 children along for this particular day or however many.
Yes.
So you're dealing with not just you're dealing with the repercussions of addiction, not just the addict.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And it is community-wide. It's, the
It's
ripple
so
effect is
sad.
amazing.
Yeah. So we know, like when we look at fish, like who can find their path out of poverty?
Yeah.
We know that there's a certain percentage that are grandparents raising their grandchildren,
Right.
and they're not going to go back to work, right? And then there's a certain percentage that are, struggling with substance abuse. But then the other percent are the working poor.
Yes.
66 of our clients who are of working age work 1.6 jobs.
Okay.
They're juggling fast food jobs, which is why having a job fair, let's get them in the Strong Family Initiative, where they put them in a program and they get a certification to be like HVAC or a chef or something. And then they get a job where they can earn more money. So, and it'll provide a stipend for them while they're going through. So it get them there and everything. So
How long does it take to get a certification like that?
6 weeks is all.
What?
Yeah, they have programs where you can get,
Like it's definitely full speed ahead then.
it's doable for some
It
of
is,
our
and
clients.
it doesn't seem daunting. Like if you said 6 months, they'd be like, oh, that's
It would feel
6
like
months.
too
How
much
am I ever
for
going to do all of
people.
this?
Yeah.
But 6 weeks, you can do anything in 6 weeks, right?
I think so. So we're working on it.
I love that.
Just let people know, provide the support so they can do it, right?
And that level of innovation, like I said, 13 years ago, we were feeding probably minimally, but still serving 35 to 50 families in a week.
Yeah.
You're doing that in 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
And bringing them all this additional service.
35 we're doing in the first 15 minutes we're open.
Right.
That's a breeze now. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah. So
It's quite a production. But you're right, that is about vision. And I appreciate your kindness when you're describing that, because not everybody has a vision that was bigger than what was there before. And hopefully somebody will, at some point when you and Bill you hand it off, somebody else will take it to another level.
Yeah.
And that's just the evolution of things.
It is. Yeah. So
And wouldn't it be cool if we could have a community where the need went down instead of up?
Yeah.
it would be fabulous.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be, I think the hungry are always going to be with us. The poor are always going to be with us.
100%
But a
true.
smaller percentage.
Yeah.
Right.
That's our goal, a smaller
of it going
percentage.
up,
Yes.
have it come back
So,
down again.
yeah.
Is there any moment in particular that stands out to you in your service to fish? There's probably so many.
I think when you volunteer, there are always moments that crystallize with you that you will never forget. Bill and I spoke at a state conference, and it was just a dynamic organization, and it was an amazing group. And then at the end of the conference, the president of the conference, who's a dynamic, brilliant woman, strong leader, she came up to me and she said, "Jane, do you recognize me? 8 years ago, my husband divorced me, emptied all of our bank accounts, took all of our money. I did not have any money, and I had 3 little children. And you worked with me and helped me get out of poverty and provided monetary support and groceries." And she goes, "And now I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful home. I've married another man." So I thought, so when you see that,
Right.
I think sometimes people think you're just feeding people and it's an endless cycle. And it's not. Bill and I can be in Kroger and someone will walk up to me and give me a hug and hand me $40 and say, "Do you remember me? I was at Fish 4 years ago." Or so it's like that type of thing that you think,
I need tissues.
or so.
We should keep those closer down.
I know. Sorry. I'll be okay.
It gives back more than what we give by far. So it's like a blessing to be able to work with people that have such big hearts in a community that's giving, like Living Will Center doing food drives for us. We get a huge amount of food. The police department supports us. The fire department does. We work with the police department. Like if they go out and do a run and it's a family in need, then I've given Kroger a 3-day grocery list for families of 2, 4, 6, and 8 with corresponding menus. So the policeman will say, you know, I'm coming to Kroger. This family has 3 children, and then they will fill groceries for them and just bring groceries out to their car. And then the officer calls us and we do follow-ups until they kind of find their way back out of whatever situation. So, I mean, that speaks to the beauty of the police department, right? And then the fire department's coming out for our child safety event. I think another recent moment that Bill and I it just melts our heart when we think about it. So in December, we delivered beds, mattresses, pillows, stuffed animals to children that were sleeping on the floor. And so we went into this one apartment, just the cutest little 6-year-old girl, you know, and it was like bitter cold out. She's wearing shorts and a little very old tattered short sleeve blouse. And we walk in the apartment and there's not a single thing in the apartment. There's not a piece of furniture. I mean, there's nothing. And so we set up this girl's bed for her and she's so happy. And she walks up to us and she gives us a little snowflake that she had made out of a piece of paper and thanked us for. I mean, it's like, oh. And then now think about who our volunteers are. One volunteer's like, what? And she asked the sizes of all the children and the parents and just loaded them with all kinds of clothes and everything. Other people started bringing furniture out to them. Bill and I had talked to them for Christmas and brought all their Christmas presents. So, I mean, so things like that, you think, oh. And it was a family that, you know, both working full time, struggling, couch sleeping with friends, trying to save enough money so they could live in an apartment. And they had just gotten enough money to pay rent and a deposit and were living in their first apartment.
Wow.
I mean, that's amazing, right?
Yes.
So
yes, they're doing it. As hard as it is,
they're doing it. Yeah.
And so when
cool.
you can just help them a little bit, it actually propels them forward too,
It
right?
does.
I can do it. I can do it. Makes them feel like champions.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I do think I
All
need
right,
a tissue
make a
though.
note. We
Okay.
need a tissue box.
You kind of touched on how you collaborate with other organizations in the community.
So important.
Jane. So what are some of them that you work with?
Oh my gosh. I hope I'm going to leave
It's okay.
people out. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
for those of you that I've left out. So Greene County Health Department, Premier Health Department, that's another one. Children's Medical Center, Nurse Partnership Program, Job and Family Services, Ohio Means Jobs, Chamber of Commerce, the businesses in town like Living Well Center, Kroger.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just there's a huge list. Yeah.
And you are just tied to them. And how do you reach out to them? How do they know what you need?
I'm not shy.
Yeah, I'll tell you how they know.
Well, I did not assume.
Yeah.
So what are the future goals for Fish?
My hope is that we can continue to grow, continue to provide more services. There's a lot more services that we can provide. And every service that we provide now, it's based on an interaction we had with the client. They're like, why aren't we doing this?
Right.
You know, just like the mom that we had a year ago. She was pregnant, lovely lady. She lived 2 blocks from Fish. She had her baby. She had not went to prenatal care once. She had syphilis. The baby was born with syphilis and a lot of deformities. And we're like, we need to do rapid testing for syphilis.
Yeah.
So we started doing that. So most of them are, you know, that. So I've created Fairborn Fish as a clinical site for senior level students in community health.
Oh, wow.
So they bring a lot of teaching and services and stuff too. But I guess my hope is that we just continue to grow in services that we provide and, you know, find more ways to meet more needs.
How can the community help you with those initiatives then?
Oh, excellent. So monetary donations are always appreciated. And you can donate online, fishfairborn.org. We have a We have a website online that you can just click a button and donate. Dropping off any foods, any personal care items. So our families cannot use food stamps to buy diapers or, anything you can't eat. They can't use food stamps. So, if we don't provide all the hygiene, toothpaste,
toilet
deodorant,
paper,
laundry soap, dish
diapers.
soap. Yeah. So anything like that is much appreciated because people think about food, but they don't think about those other items. So, and then volunteer. It's fun.
Yeah.
Coming to Fish is fun.
Look at her.
We
It
have
would have to be fun.
We have a huddle at the beginning of every day, and we have one of our volunteers who I love, Richard Strode, and he used to be the executive chef at the Officers Club on base.
Oh, wow.
Such a good guy to have volunteer because he can go, I know what to do with this.
Oh, nice.
And he'll create recipes and we'll pass. So he's wonderful, but he always tells amazing jokes. We share about what's going on in fish. And then we have 4 pastors that volunteer for us as amazing men. And then they always give a blessing. And then we start rocking and rolling. So, but yeah, any donations or volunteer, it's fun.
So on Tuesdays and Fridays, what are the hours that you guys are there? You probably already said, but
For food distribution, we're there 1 to 3. I
Okay.
mean, 1 to 4.
Okay.
And then
the volunteers.
the volunteers are usually there by 11,
Okay.
11:30. So.
And then they're there until after all the food is.
Yes. And then we do 55 pickups every week at our rescue partners. So with, McDonald's, Sheetz, Kroger, City Barbecue, any restaurant you can think of, all the Dollar Generals, the UDFs and everything. So our volunteers help with those 55 pickups every week that we do.
That they pick up from those
Businesses
sources.
and then
Okay.
bring it back.
And those are things
wow.
that those businesses are donating that they would otherwise probably be discarding.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're just not letting things go to waste.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's, no food goes to waste.
You mentioned
So-
about the master gardeners and some fresh produce.
Oh, yes.
Does every week do they get fresh food too?
They pretty much do.
Okay.
So, and then one thing our master gardeners do, which I think is fabulous, in January, they plant all these little seeds like tomato plants and pepper plants and stuff. And then in May, they come out and they give everybody a pot, that has a plant in it. And they teach them about patio gardening and how to
wonderful.
grow your own tomatoes and everything. So,
So
yeah. So different
it
things,
does seem
a
like
lot
you
of
guys have
different
thought
things.
Of everything.
Not yet. Still coming.
No rest for the weary.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So we can put people in touch. We'll have make sure all your contact stuff is on the screen. Anything
Yeah,
else where you
yeah.
can
What
say,
would
you know
you
what?
like to
Here's one
share?
more thing I'd love people to know
Okay.
before we wrap.
Oh, I'm coming up with this?
Yeah. I'm sorry, that was in the form of a question.
A couple of things, I guess. Number one, Fairborn is a beautiful community. I mean, it's solid, has a lot of leaders, people with big hearts. We take care of each other. Number two, volunteering is a gift. You have an opportunity to plant a seed under of a tree of whose shade you're never going to sit. And that's probably the biggest gift you can give yourself in life, giving without getting anything back.
Right.
So,
Oh,
and 3 cheers for Fairborn Fish and Living Well Center for doing these podcasts.
thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jane. This was so much fun.
I knew it would be.
Yeah.
I knew it would be.
Yeah,
As soon as
you
I
did
saw your name come through my email, I'm like, we're going to love this.
She's on here.
Well, you two
Yeah,
are
that's
amazing.
perfect. Well, you're amazing too, and, we
And
really
you
do
keep me in
appreciate
good
it.
shape.
Oh, we're just doing what we got to do. I feel like the pit crew guys at the Indy 500, and you're the car.
Taking
Like, really, my job is just to keep you guys on the
You've been
track.
taking care of me, Dr. Terry, for decades.
Decades.
We look good, though, don't we?
We look
Nobody would
good.
know.
We're looking good.
The young people.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
so
love it.
much.
Yeah,
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
just for
Thank you.
doing all you're doing in our community.
And thank you to our viewers for tuning in.
Yeah. And now they can click. They can click the like or subscribe.
Yep.
But now they can go to the website for Fish, click and donate.
Yes.
Yes.
Click and donate. That's even more important than subscribing and
Thank
liking.
you.
We're so glad you tuned in today.
Yep. Another episode that's a wrap. So when you're looking down the road, we'll take suggestions. when you get back in touch, if you're in touch and you say, hey, you know what, we really like this episode, we'd like to see this or that or another thing that has something to do with representing big life in a small town.
Yeah, exactly. You can comment on the podcast, whatever platform you are tuned into, or you can be on Facebook, the Living Well Together podcast Facebook page, and comment there as well.
What should they do until next time, Lisa?
Live well together.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
giving
you
us
for
some time.
having
Appreciate
me.
it.
Your
Yeah.
day off, you do stuff like this.
Your day off, you
I was
do
gonna
stuff
say,
like this.
is there such a thing as a day off?
Day off.
I don't have a day off
We don't
either.
either.
You don't either, do you? So,
No,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
We can sleep when we're dead.
Yeah.
Like right now, we got
I
stuff
know,
to do.
right? There's too much to do.
Stuff to do.
One
You
of
know.
the things that Terry and I decided a long, long time ago is that we would live as if we were on vacation. So even things like this
Oh, that's
are,
so
we just
good.
We don't have to get
being
away.
on
We
vacation. We don't have to do this. We choose to do it.
Make a
you know?
life we enjoy. We don't
That's a
have to
good way to
escape.
approach life.
Yeah, because think
good
about
way.
it. Like when you're
Not that we don't like to go see new things sometimes.
No, yeah,
it
that's
is fun to
different.
go see new things, but
Yeah,
I never feel
it's
like
the
I gotta
attitude.
like run away from my life.
You never have to escape.
No.
We don't either.
It's
I mean,
wonderful.
we love the life we have here. So
here in Fairborn in our small
here in
town, right?
Fairborn, I love Fairborn.